All right, on this episode of Bare Knuckle Bowker, very excited to be talking to an individual who is vying for that vacant BKFC bantamweight championship at BKFC 85, which goes down on December 5th. And Ryan Reber will knuckle up and toe the line against Justin Ibarrola. And great having this individual on Bare Knuckle Bowker for the very first time. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Sorry, I'm just trying to. I have my last name, but I just recently changed it. Hold on. All right, there we go. That's better. That's better. Took the Sanchez out of there. I'm doing good, man. I feel great. Ready to roll. We'll fight this Friday if we have to. You know. Um, yeah. I mean, this whole camp has been like how I normally end my camps, which is just fucking when you normally end your camp, you're going your hardest. But the start of my camp was like I ended it. We were going hard from the jump. So, um, I mean, we're peaking right now. I feel amazing.
Yeah, and this probably won't resonate as the most relevant question to everyone necessarily, but that is something that I have kind of noticed with you over the years. Like sometimes it'll be Justin Ibarrola Sanchez, Justin Ibarrola. Like, is there a certain, I guess, reasoning behind having a more succinct kind of like it's just Justin Ibarrola as opposed to the full kind of thing, or is it just is what it is? I'm just reading too much into a thing, maybe.
No, no, Sanchez was my legal last name um, throughout my entire career until recently. I just had it legally changed to Ibarrola, and Ibarrola comes from my middle name.
Hmm.
So I took Sanchez out, and then that's it. And yeah.
I guess what guided you to that move, if you don't mind sharing that.
No, not at all. I mean, I moved to Florida on my own at 19 years old, just because, growing up, like I just didn't have the best childhood. Um, and like I just wanted to create a new legacy and kind of just restart the whole family name, because I just shoot for the stars. So I just wanted to leave that past behind me and just start everything. I guess you could say as it should have been from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, what a time to kind of clean off the proverbial slate. I mean, one of the top contenders in your given weight category, readying to fight for the championship and everything like that. And just, I mean, quite the journey. Like, I saw a post you had, I guess, in February where you were talking about how 7 years ago you were making bare minimum at 19 and you were just a guy with a dream. So I imagine where you're at now, if you could, talk to that individual directing traffic, he'd probably have a big smile on his face, I'd imagine.
Oh yeah, for sure. You saw that photo, huh? No, it's funny, man. I like talking about like where I was back then. I like talking about my past a lot because it just shows people the transformation that I made, and it shows people that it's possible, and it shows people that literally no matter who you are, what you're doing, or the circumstance you live in, like if you just kind of put yourself first and dial in, you can make anything happen, man. I took a chance, I took a risk, I left everything behind me. All my siblings, they still live back at home in Seattle. All my friends, everything I've built growing up as a kid, I literally made this decision to just get up and leave and say no goodbyes and just rip the band-aid off and start a new life for myself.
Well, I mean, that has to, I mean, take such a massive amount of courage. I mean, it does seem like a situation that wasn't serving you. So, I mean, I guess you're ultimately trying to, find something better, but there is still that, I guess, like scary kind of piece, or at the very least, that uncertain piece and whatnot. So, kudos to you for taking that leap. And like I said, clearly, paying dividends here and stuff like that. And it seems like a long time overdue as well. Like I feel like you've been one of those guys who's been like a stalwart contender at bantamweight for a while. So I imagine you were quite excited when this opportunity was presented to you at first.
Yeah, I mean, any fight and any opportunity is exciting for me. Um, I don't even look at this fight as a title fight. It just so happens to be, I would have fought Ryan on any given day with or for or not the title. But it's for me it's more so like just cementing my legacy. So that's why I'm not really worried about the title. Like I said, I don't even look at it like a title shot. Look at it like another fight. Just because like I think the one thing BKFC is missing is a lot of the fighters don't know how to really build themselves up. They want to rush the career, and they have something to prove. Like I don't have anything to prove. I don't need to. The right time will happen for me when it happens. I'm as patient as can be. Um, but yeah, man, I just don't want to be an unknown champion. If I'm gonna be the best at what I do, people need to know who I am first. So that's the approach I was taking. So I don't really look at it as a late title opportunity. I think of it as the right time. I would have even waited a couple more fights, but you know, given the circumstances, you have the top two guys in the division, no one has the belt. It's kind of like the only fight they could have made for it. So
Well, and I guess especially to the circumstances of how Alberto Blas left BKFC as the reigning champion and then went to BKB and then the belt was vacated. So certain circumstances at play there as well.
right, right, and I mean, Blas was kind of like uh, calling me out, like online, and we were exchanging words, but I don't know, man. For me, it wasn't even about fighting Blas. It was about, like I said, just taking my time, waiting for, like it wasn't me. I didn't want to be the fighter chasing the belt. I wanted to be the fighter where the belt was chasing me, and that's exactly what happened. You had it just perfect timing, man. I consider myself lucky. I have literally no explanation for it. There was no like hidden story behind it or like strategy to get to the belt. There's none of that. It was just right place, right time, right amount of patience, and it just fell into my lap. So
Yeah, no, it's just an exciting time in that kind of sense because yeah, that does kind of really inform your career progression because I feel like the talent and the confidence and etc. has always been there, but it's one of those things where it's like you're gonna invariably build up your name value each time you get out there anyway. So it's one of those things where it's like you're probably invariably going to attract that championship kind of opportunity as you just kind of outlined there. So yeah, it kind of fell into place well in that sense too, it seems.
exactly, and that can happen for any fighter. This is what I try to like. This is kind of like my way of like showing other fighters like how they should do things. Everyone's different, whatever. But like you said, there comes a point where the title will just like present itself to you. And all these guys who have like two, three fights, they just need to fucking wait, build their legacy, get over five, six, seven, eight fights like I did, maybe even more, 10, 12, and then really cement themselves within the company and then fight for the title. It just makes for a much bigger fight, makes for a much bigger opportunity, and it just makes for a much better accomplishment. Like if I won the title at three fights deep, I wouldn't feel as accomplished as I would now, or two fights later.
Yeah, and it seems like too that you were able to have certain important experiences in your journey so far. Like obviously you have a demonstrably great track record in bare knuckle, but just even certain moments like for instance, in like you say your BKFC 66 fight, like overcoming certain challenges even within that, like ultimately coming out with the win on your ledger for sure. But just to say that classic thing of like fighters having to have those test your metal kind of moments or like facing certain levels of challenge to kind of see a deeper part of their game just to inform what you're talking about how these fighters with a couple fights in should maybe not be pursuing something like that right away without having these kind of I guess lived experiences that can inform their journey, I guess.
Right. I always say things that come quick don't last for very long. That's the kind of like the the rule I live by. So we never rush a thing.
And this seems like a fun one too. Like I know you're talking like heading into this fight that you don't want to necessarily give it that extra gravity or like you're not even naturally not looking at it as like a different kind of fight situation per se, but it seems like there's more of that like, doing face-offs with Ryan Reber and I saw you had that, quote in your bio calling out Ryan Reber a little bit there. So it seems like there's at least that playful like banter oriented component to this one here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be a playful matchup. Obviously it's still gonna be vicious. We're still going out there to hurt each other. At the end of the day, once we both step into the ring, all that goes out the window, you know. But like me and Ryan are fully aware of like enjoying the process, you know, we're fully aware that we don't have to hate each other to want to kill each other. There's a mutual respect there, and we both talk and we both give each other our flowers, and at the end of the conversation, we say, "Now I'm going to beat your ass." I mean, it just is what it is, and I can't do nothing but respect another fighter who thinks that way that I do, you know. Um, Again, it's a sport, man. If you want to be a fucking killer and fucking be a fucking terrible person and be such a hateful motherfucker, go join the fucking military. You can do all that in war, bro. You can go you can be that person in war in the middle of the fucking desert, wherever you want. But this is a sport. At the end of the day, we have to have respect for each other.
Yeah, no, well said. And I mean, I feel like he kind of, I mean, everyone has their own journey, but I feel like he kind of fits like a similar profile to you, like even insofar as like a stalwart in the division, a lot of experience, etc. And I guess kind of even within what we're talking about here, like how would you, I guess, give Reber his flowers in terms of like how you view his resume or even see some of his better skills heading into this championship fight with him?
Um, like I said in the beginning, I don't look at it as a championship fight, and I don't mean it in any kind of disrespectful way to Reber,
Mm-hmm.
but just because I don't think he's on my level of competition, to be honest. He's a great fighter. He can take a fucking punch. He can last the rounds. He can come back and win. He definitely has that spirit, that fighter spirit. He has that grit. But other than that, I don't think he's been punched by anybody like me. I don't think he's been in the ring with somebody who can move like me, who is as quick as me. Yeah, I mean, I don't even judge him on his fight against Blas because I could tell he fought really scared in that fight, very intimidated. He had a lot of shit going on in his head, and I don't think, if he didn't let the mental get to him, he would have definitely performed a lot better. I think so. Um, So when I prepare for Ryan, I'm not even looking at that fight against Blas. That gives me no tell. I look at the other fights. You like Anthony Foy's a good fight that I look at because we both fought him, and Anthony Foy's another, like, he matches our style kind of. He's kind of like a sit back technical boxer. Um, and then I look at all the fights with the similar opponents that we have and just see, I look at reasonings for why it took him so long to stop them. Or I look at I even look at back at my fights and I'm like, how was I able to stop them earlier than he was? And I just look at those fine details, which which aren't many. Like, it's very easy to pick up for me. Like, I know exactly how this fight's gonna go. Um, but the most flowers I'll give Ryan is that he's durable and he has grit and he's willing to go in there and fucking and bang it out. But at the end of the day, I think I'm just gonna bring a whole different level of experience that he's not gonna be ready for.
And as someone who interviews a lot of fighters, that's kind of an intriguing piece as well. Because when fighters say things in that kind of context, like, "Oh, I know exactly how this is going to play out," rather, it can kind of go. I guess I'm creating a binary here. I feel like it can usually go in one of two ways, like where fighters are either like, I guess, like
Completely
so
wrong, or like,
well, no, not
or
even
I
that, but just in
don't
the sense of like they're so like assured of the outcome, but in a way where it's like I don't necessarily want to reveal the game plan to give my opponent the advantage. Whereas some fighters, when they say stuff
yeah.
like that, they're like, "Oh yeah, second round KO, I'll hit him with this strike," and it's more, I guess, overt in a certain sense. Like, where are you at in that kind of binary as far as how you see the fight playing out?
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, I run so many different scenarios in my head to prepare myself for anything. I don't just say, "Oh, I can see myself knocking him out in the first round," because then if it happens, if it doesn't happen, then and I'm not prepared for the other situations that could really mess me up. So, I've tried predicting my fights in the past, never goes that way. But I never in any of my fights, I never go for the knockout. I have four knockouts. They just happen to happen. I placed the right shot. Nothing was planned. It's just what worked out for me. So going with Ryan, we're contracted actually for 6 rounds if it goes the distance. Funny enough. So we're contracted for a sudden death round if it's that close of a fight. But man, there's no doubt in my mind. There's not a planet on this earth. There's not a universe in the world where I even remotely think that he can beat me. So, whether it's a knockout or we do go the distance, because I'm the type of fighter who I can dance around the ring all day long if I wanted to. I could get an easy victory. I did it in my last fight. My last fight, I didn't even plan on fighting until Dave Feldman called me and said, you have to fight him so we can potentially give you a title shot after. And so I was like, all right, shit, you know what? I planned on taking a break, but since you're mentioning like a title fight and the pay's, good for me, then I might as well fight. So I just went in there and I was like, yeah, let me just easily dance around the ring, make a miss, jab, not be too aggressive, and just get an easy victory. It's not pleasant to the crowd, it's not pleasant to, the people watching and want to see me dominate. But it was just one of those fights where I just wanted to scratch it off and get it over with. And I knew exactly how to do that. And I can do that in any fight with any opponent. I could easily go 5 rounds, dance around, minimize the amount of times that I get hit, and just fucking jab, just throw straight punches at you the entire time and make you miss. I'm fully confident that I can do that with any opponent in at any fight in that ring at any time. We can go 6, 7, 8 rounds, and I can just do that the entire time.
And I would imagine how you're talking about this would apply to other, potential subsequent next challengers, because obviously, like you said, you're not looking at this as a title fight. So I'm not trying to like underscore that per se. But I mean, you would think that if you get your ideal outcome here, that you could, face someone like a Bekzad Usmanov, Keith Richardson, Nate Manis. I would think that you'd be confident you could implement that same game plan with any of these ranked bantamweights.
For sure, 100%. And I'll tell you why, because um, fighting isn't just about how hard you can punch. It's not about how explosive you are. It's not about how much you rush or, you know, speeding up the pace. All those guys are capable of doing that, and it's very good that they're able to do that. But it's not like for me, it's hit and don't get hit, man. It's hit and don't get hit. Like if you're coming to pressure me, I'm just gonna move around the ring the entire time. Like, it's the guys who don't have that footwork that I do that end up getting stopped by the Keith Richardsons, the Uzmanov and the Nate Manis. It's guys who don't know how to fucking use ring IQ. It's just guys who know how to come forward and throw punches. Like everybody knows how to fight. Nobody knows how to use different tactics to win fights, and I'm fucking my book is full of them. So, you know, if it's Keith Richardson, I know he's tough and I know he hits fucking hard. I don't want to get hit by fucking Keith, so why would I bang with him? He's definitely capable of knocking me out. My job is to keep that from happening. And how do I do that? I move around the ring, I play it smart, I control the distance. Same thing with Uzmanov. I don't think he can knock me out. I think for me, uh matchup wise, he would be an easier fight for me than Keith. And then the Nate guy, I haven't watched a lot of them, but nothing impressive. Um, Again, like I said, I can just use my movement against all these guys. Even if they hit me, even if they clinch with me, like I find a way to just keep things moving. But for me, I wouldn't like to fight any of those guys, honestly. I want to fight I want to fight like superstars, I want to fight like guys like Jamel Herring who have a big name attached to them, and a big resume behind them. I want to fight guys um, like Kai. I would go up and fight him. That's a big fight. Um, if when I get the belt, there's all these guys below me have less than 5 fights. It's like not intriguing to me at all.
Yeah, I guess it's like, yeah, I mean, I understand that idea, and it kind of fits within to what we were talking about before, where it's almost like about growing the profile and the star power and etc. So it kind of makes sense in that kind of vein as well. Like maybe more someone who is like coming in with like some bigger like clout from another sport or like a certain cachet around them to kind of
For
bolster
sure.
your own.
For sure, yeah, man. If I was 50 pounds heavier, I'd want to fight Mike Perry and those guys, But you dealt with the cards you're born with.
You can only fight guys who are in the given weight category there. But I guess stepping outside your weight category for a brief second here, because I feel like a pretty consequential fight is happening on this card. Like, not necessarily for the title directly, but, part of a tournament to crown that, lightweight champion, which has since been a vacated
Yeah.
situation there. Like, what are your thoughts on that Austin Trout versus Luis Palomino rematch set for this card?
Um, I am a big fan of both of them, honestly. I like how Palomino fights. Um, I like to compare me and Palomino with our styles a little bit. They're different, but I like how he throws punches. I like how he come approaches the fight. Um, and then you got Trout, who's just a smart boxer, man. Like he's been in the ring with big guys, and he knows how to move, and he's swift, and he's hard to catch. Like he does, he's like he's using the same approach I'm using. Hit and don't get hit. Move around the fucking ring, and it's working. Where I think me and him are two of the guys who are using that approach out of everybody in the company. And as you can see, it's what works. No matter how hard we get hit, no matter who drops us, no matter who cuts our faces or bruises us up, our strategy works, and it's continuing to work.
Yeah, well said, man. That definitely speaks volumes, and I guess could even serve as a parting thought in and of itself. But also figured I'd give you the floor, Justin, if you did have a final thought you wanted to add on Bare Knuckle Bowker as we're kind of wrapping things up. I do appreciate you making the time today, man.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm laser focused right now. Normally I'm a lot more like um vocal and goofy and kind of, but I'm just waiting patiently for the time to happen. I'm confident. I'm super super zenned out right now, and I'm just ready to go. Honestly, that's all I got for you.
No, it really comes through, man. And I think that's going to translate into a very exciting fight. I spoke to Ryan Reber kind of recently. He had like a very similar kind of temperament, just that certain very hyper focused kind of energy. Just really, I guess, as an interviewer, it gives me this idea it's going to be a very exciting fight between you two.
Yeah, I think we're both going to be locked in. I think I'm going to get the best version of him. I think he's going to get the best version of me. And I think it's highly anticipated across the board. I think everybody underestimates me and Ryan, which is why they want to watch this fight so bad, because they just want to see, out of the two guys at the top, which one are we underestimating more than the other. And it's kind of like you know, it's kind of like people just want to see both of us lose, I think. It's one of those fights. They don't give a fuck who wins, but they're tuning in because they just want to see one of us lose.
You think they're calling for the double knockout prediction on a lot of the bare knuckle forums and groups and etc.?
Is that a thing?
No, I'm just saying, is that what you're saying? Like the fact that
Oh
people
yeah,
want to see
yeah,
both you
yeah.
guys get
They
knocked
would
out.
love that. They would love that for sure.
Yeah,
But
well,
no,
hopefully,
yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say,
I'm
hopefully that doesn't happen. Just in the sense of trying to look for that person to sit in the throne in bantamweight. And I know you're not giving that space to this fight; it's not in your purview in that way. But more so for the fans out there who are looking forward to this one, and they can check that out December 5th. I know I'm certainly stoked for BKFC 85. Definitely a stacked card with quite a few intriguing fights, and this one very much stands out within that. So again, Justin, thank you for coming on Bare Knuckle Bowker today, man. Looking forward to the fight when it goes down. But until then, man, all the best with the rest of the preparations and have a good rest of your day too.
Thank you, man. Pleasure have pleasure talking to you, man. Thanks for having me.